Next, we have something I think we all deal with, which is weather related problems. And this is, I wanted to maybe watch this video and read more about this because I believe the headline is Boating Shop in Oshkosh
Oshkosh,
navigates
Wisconsin.
Oshkosh navigates challenges before busy season. So raindrops falling in the Fox River is a dread sight for Army veteran Christopher Amos. So this is actually pertinent because we have a franchisee in Wisconsin who, in the name of
Two.
safety, actually two. Well,
Well, two on the Mississippi River who are being impacted by these storms.
yeah, I know. I
Over
one of
Iowa,
them.
too.
I know we closed a whole location temporarily just due to all this water. Let's hear that they have to say.
It's even tougher when your business revolves around the weather. A small boating shop in Oshkosh is dealing with those challenges.
Raindrops falling into the Fox River. It's a dreaded sight for Army veteran Christopher Amos. Christopher is the owner of Midwest Rental Company, which rents pontoon boats and kayaks.
If it's raining like this and customers are showing up to go boating, we'll do our best to do a rain check, get them on a better day.
Weather is a key part of this job. Christopher says by now he's used to riding the waves that come with owning a boat rental business.
Definitely has its challenges with,
Funds
wise, having enough money, when we're starting out, getting that insurance is a huge upfront cost. And then also the boats.
Christopher had a dream of building a family business. And like so many in Wisconsin, his family loves being out on the water. When he took a chance and started Midwest Rental Company during the pandemic, business was booming as more people focused on outdoor activities during social distancing. But then came inflation and increased costs for just about everything.
Right now, I'm pretty much married to the harbor, here every day from open to close, get home late, get up early, come to work. So it would be nice to have enough income where I will have the freedom to hire someone everyday operations.
Despite the rain, Christopher looks out at the water and is always reminded of how lucky he is.
Putting all these activities together for people to come enjoy the waters in Oshkosh, not just on the riverbanks, but actually getting out in the middle of the river and going having access to all the lakes. So it's a good feeling to be able to get people out there.
He's created a career helping people explore the beauty of his hometown by boat. In Oshkosh, Gino Perez.
Awesome.
Married to the harbor. I like that.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. He started during the pandemic.
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale, grow, get up, go, scale, grow, get up, go.
So what's going on in Wisconsin that you know of, Kai?
It's been record rainfall for like 3 weeks, and you've probably seen the articles about the dams that have been failing in Minnesota on some of the Mississippi River tributaries. There's the water levels are maxed out everywhere in the North Midwest, and people are losing docks and waterfront homes. Obviously, for all the boat rental businesses and boat tour businesses, there's a lot of impacts. Like you said, our franchisee in La Crosse, Wisconsin, is on the Mississippi River, and the marina is so flooded they can't even operate right now. And then there's a lot of water damage, and people, when this sort of stuff happens anyways, like, sure, it's not fun going on the water when it's raining all the time. And when there's a lot of damage and insurance claims and stuff, like, people stop spending money. So it's not good for tourism in general, of course. So there's a lot of people probably struggling out there in the Mississippi River area in the Midwest.
Wow.
This case, it looks like it's just a lot of rain.
Well, I hope
right? So people aren't booking because it's raining, and we've talked about this on the show. Yeah, that's probably the main. We talked about this on the show a lot. You've got to work out some sort of trip insurance program to try to smooth out some of the valleys in the sales cycle, because if you have to cancel all your tours every time there's a lot of rain, like, it just makes your cash flow really chunky, and it's difficult to predict. We've had like seasons in the Northeast, like all fall, where it's rained every single weekend. It was like every week it'd be beautiful. Sunday through Thursday, gorgeous outside. Thunderstorms and rain every single weekend, right? Like, that can be like 40% of your revenue for a season taken out if you didn't have good trip insurance policies. And so you got to hold people to a strong cancellation policy. You got to have at least 7 days where the price is locked in. And I think everyone should be doing trip assurance to make sure you're at least getting that premium assurance. that extra money to help smooth out these cases where weather impacts your sales.
Yeah, I think like too is even when the weekends are rainy, how are you adjusting your ad spend? Are you toggling that switch when you need to? When the weather's good, are you doubling down? When it's bad, are you turning it off? And how are you really maximizing on the better times? It's tougher for these types of businesses that are up north and only have a 5-month season, and 1 month out of those 5 months is completely rainy, right? Now
Totally.
your season's only 4 months. I think they just need to consider that going into businesses. Like, what am I going to do those other 6 months or 7 months? And what happens if it's a little bit of a rainy summer? And I think to your point, having those extra procedures in place can help soften the blow.
Gosh, like
So
home
let's
spenders.
Yeah. Let's quickly talk about businesses that popped up during COVID and started with a cash flow boom. Do you guys feel that these businesses out there are going to be able to adjust? And is it going to be, there might be some hard lessons involved? I mean, I know that we've all started before COVID, right, Justin?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
some franchisees are post COVID, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's interesting because every business is a little different, and this guy's out there running it himself. It sounds like I saw in the article it said he works with his brother, but he's out there running it himself. So he's actually saving a lot of money on the overhead, and he's in a good position to not be as hurt if he also had employees that are relying on him to pay salaries or pay staff. And, I think like he just needs to focus more on figuring out how those valleys aren't as low as they currently are. And like this type of guy seems like the type of guy that could use a franchise system that already has thought these things through and has plans in place and processes. Like to me, this is kind of like a good candidate as a conversion franchisee. I think that he could benefit from some of the systems and stuff that you guys have in place.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's definitely a lot of people that got involved in this industry post COVID because it was a boom time, right? Like I think about being a business since 2011, we saw tourism grow consistently every single year from 2011 to 2019. And in almost every single market, there's a steady increase in overall demand for tours. And granted, it was an amazing run for the economy during that period too. So purchasing power, spending, everything, equity markets were great. COVID was a huge curveball. In some industries, it resulted in a lot more demand than they would otherwise have, and some had a lot less. And anything outdoors saw a huge boom. I mean, some people 300% increases in business from 2019 to 2021. Why did that happen? It's because their competitors were handicapped, right? The whole market got shifted around. And yeah, it's easy to make a bunch of money when people aren't allowed to go to restaurants. They're not allowed to go to indoor activities at all. So yeah, of course, we all saw a huge increase in business. The problem is that people learn the wrong lesson from that. And that is, it's easy to make money in this industry, so I don't have to try very hard. Or I should expect making a ton of revenue without putting in a ton of marketing and ad spend. Those are the things that maybe newcomers to the industry thought were true, that by now they've learned aren't true, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality is that this is like any other industry where you have to fight your way into the market and you have to earn the revenue you make through branding, marketing, good customer experiences, all the discipline it takes to run a good business and grow it. And so I think people understood that, let's just say 2010 to 2019, you have all these newcomers come in and all of a sudden you have a lot of people struggling right now. It's because they didn't have the discipline to put in all that stuff because they didn't have to during that period, right? So, I mean, I think that's what I take away. Why some people are really struggling is because there was such a quick increase in demand all of a sudden, right? If you're making 3x over what you made the prior year, what are you going to do? You're going to buy more assets, right? And how are you going to do that? You're going to take out loans, right? And you're probably going to increase the pay of your staff and you're going to hire more people. So companies big and small in 2021 and 2022 did that. They took out loans, they bought lots of assets, they hired more people, right? This is exactly what Hornblower did.
Mm-hmm.
But a company that big, they took out tons of debt to expand. And this is what small mom and pop operations did. Sales go down from these unreasonably high levels for some of these markets, and all of a sudden you have all this debt you have to pay. And that's another reason why you see a lot of people in trouble right now is sales are kind of returning to normal, which I think can still grow from 2019. But if your debt level requires sales that are 2 times higher than a normal sales rate, then you're going to get in trouble pretty quickly.
I've got one more for us.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. This one is one of the ones that we said we were going to.
Just keep looking at that guy's socks.
There's some good branding there for Adidas.
Absolutely. All right. So first off, before we get started, we are talking about a situation going on with a franchisor based out of Charlotte, North Carolina called Bojangles. For those who don't know, I don't know if you agree or not with me and with the entire state, but the state of North
It's
Carolina,
bow time.
it's bow time. It's Team Bojangles, and Bojangles is like a Cajun fast food restaurant. And before we get into the article, I just want to come out and say it. I have a lot of experience with Bojangles, their marketing team,
I
their
thought you just
franchise.
meant eating there. You've got a lot of experience.
I do. I'm proud to say that I ate there 100 days in a row after hockey practice
Oh my God.
in high school. I have jumped out of, I went skydiving with a Bojangles iced tea
Amazing.
for one of their marketing campaigns. I've been to the Triarch offices, which is the multi-unit operator in Raleigh, and I've spent some time with their franchise marketing team in Charlotte. Now, a lot's probably changed. Oh yeah, and I took a biscuit to Iceland for one of their things too. Smashed it.
Look at
It's a
that.
weird picture, but I pulled that out. So, what is going on with Bojangles? Looks like we have franchisees sue Bojangles over marketing. The Chicken Chains Franchisee Association says the company stopped providing information on how it uses their marketing dollars in a second secret account.
Ooh.
Secret account.
Just for clarity, we're looking at restaurantbusinessonline.com, and we're reading straight from the source. They say they're suing the brand. Looks like there's a few of them involved. The Bojangles of America Franchisee Association, a group representing most of the chain's operators, is also accusing the Charlotte-based franchise of keeping secret a cruel amount for disposing of discontinued products. Very interesting. So it looks like they promised to allow the BFA to audit the marketing fund, and then they provide us with scant information, not everything we needed to provide an accurate audit.
And they're getting 1% marketing fund, it looks like, from all of their franchisees.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what's happening is all the franchisees are paying the 1%, and they should be able to see exactly where that 1% is being spent.
Right.
But corporate is not allowing that to happen.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
bottom line is if you're going to have an ad fund, you need to be transparent about what you're doing with it. And I think you got to have a marketing committee made up of franchisees to provide some sort of oversight so that this sort of conflict doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't have any experience with that because we don't have an advertising fund.
As of now,
We have a 2% advertising fund on our end. I do have a small marketing committee of a few franchisees that kind of raised their hands and wanted to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
When we get on calls, it's kind of like, well, what should we do with the fund? And there's not been great exact, like, oh, I want to see this happen with the fund. So it usually just comes back to me to determine what happens with the fund. I've used it on things like a company-wide Google ad. We'll do the Performance Max campaign for the entire company. I use it for things like the loyalty program and sending out the free t-shirts that we give to people as they visit our locations and stuff like that. So that's how I've used it. But like, I would love to, I wish there was more involvement from the franchisees on like where they exactly want to see that go. And, we've talked about doing like a company commercial and maybe some bigger projects like that. I also brought on the community manager that marketing fund can go towards. So Yeah, I really like it. I love that there's a specific kind of account that I'm like, okay, this is what I can use for marketing. And,
Mhm.
instead of me just trying to come up with a marketing budget for the franchise, like I can use from that. And it should go back into things that directly help the franchisees. So that's
Totally.
probably what they're running into here is like, are they spending money on things that are actually helping the franchisees?
Yeah, I think we wanted to wait until we were a certain size before turning it on. We wanted to put together a really good program. And when we first started, we were so focused on the basics that we were like, we're going to save that for later.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of in my head, it was like when we're around 50 units, I think it'll be time. It's in the FDD, it says 2%, and it's always just said currently 0. And we have to provide notice, and then we can turn it on with 90-day notice.
For current franchisees as well.
For the franchisees listening, and we are waiting intentionally on that. And if and when the time comes, I think Kai, you hit the nail on the head. We need to be a teeny bit bigger. We're going to do it right. Not only with the
That's the point,
transparency
yeah.
stuff, but with, we want it to be effective. Justin, you have a little bit of an advantage in Florida where a lot of your locations are within a few hours
Plus.
or a few minutes. There's some challenges that come when you just have cities
spread
with
out.
drastically different sales all over the country.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
some markets are very family focused and some are very young focused. And so it's like, if we do an ad fund, it needs to be big enough to where I know everyone is feeling the value.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
some interesting thoughts that you guys could consider for that is like creating just brand assets of,
Yeah.
videos of the
Yeah.
boats in water. You
So
can't really tell where it is, but
that's
anyone
a
can use it.
that's a great example. So I'm obviously big on conversion optimization, both on the paid ad side and on the website side. And there are companies out there who are great at making videos that convert well on social. Like it's all about
Mhm.
the first 3-second hook, keeping them engaged and getting them to do an action. So we've had quotes for 8,000 all the way up to 35,000. And that with our corporate locations hasn't made the most sense. We do have quality assets that are converting. But with something like that, if we were to produce a video that would help the entire franchise, like that's the type of stuff along with ad management, I see the ad fund, being used for. And we have a slew of other stuff we're keeping under wraps until we reveal it.
Yeah.
It's exciting.